Hey guys, welcome back to All Star Rail Yard. I wanted to make this video to go over what I have personally bought from the 125th anniversary catalog, and go more over my thoughts and how maybe they've changed in the last 2 weeks. Obviously, everybody's seen the videos, everybody knows most people's reactions at this point. I was definitely trying to be nice in my first video, and maybe I tried to be a little too nice, to be honest. I still try to keep it positive. I still don't want to get like too negative about it because there is some good stuff in here. It's just really, really easy to focus on all of the bad stuff in this catalog. So this will be a shorter video, hopefully. Well, it should be, definitely. And we'll just kind of breeze through it as we go and give you my more overall thoughts. It's really, my first thing that I really want to say is that it's really a shame how negative this catalog's really been taken. Um, I know I talked about this gold-plated Commodore in the first video. I'm not gonna order it just because of the price tag on it. I just don't have the funds for that. But man, is this a cool? This is a really, really cool engine. Gonna be super collectible in the future. I think anybody that gets it, it's gonna be a standout for any collection. This whole page is pretty cool, to be honest. I don't really care for the Lionel Train of the Year, uh, but the blue and the red sets, it's just a cool throwback. So it's good to open with positivity. Um, this is another one. I think the Scout's cool. It is pretty overpriced. These coaches are nicely priced though, or at least like better than the rest of them. But yeah. Didn't get either of those. Didn't get any of this. I think that this is still a pretty good deal. This 549. Um, but again, didn't order something like this. But I don't think it's a super bad deal. This conventional set, everybody's talking about it. It's just not. It's just not worth the price that they're asking for a dummy and a very basic conventional locomotive. I don't. This is a starter set. This should be to get somebody into the hobby, and most kids don't have this out of their pocket. So I just don't know how they're supposed to convince a parent to think that this is a hobby for their kid. Nevertheless, none of this stuff really matters. Let's get into something I did order. I already ordered one of these, but that was in the like pre-Vision Line catalog, whatever you want to call that. And I mentioned that in my last video. I did end up buying these overpriced coaches. They just look so good, and I do think that they're going to be able to hold some value just because I don't see these kinds of things at many train shows that I go to. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are out there, but I don't. I'm hoping that these hold their value somewhat. But wow, they are overpriced. I don't imagine a lot of people are going to buy them, but I did. Uh, and it took up a big chunk. It made it to where I couldn't order other stuff. But it is something that I ordered, but it is overpriced, and it's a shame. I did get a Commodore with the disk drivers. I love streamlined engines. I need to keep adding to my collection of them, and this is just a perfect fit. I actually have a 1999 in the box. I might have talked about that in my last video. Um, but I am looking forward to this one. Do I think it's a little on the hefty side for the price? Yeah, absolutely. Especially compared to what they used to sell for and the fact that the tooling hasn't changed all that much. I don't really know. I mean, it talks about whistle steam and a swinging bell, and I've heard some people say mixed things on it or they're going to ask questions. I don't really know how it's going to turn out. I just hope that it's a good looking engine. They talk about how there's going to be some waves, I guess, down the side of the body. I hope it looks nice. I hope it's worth it, but I did end up ordering one of these. I wanted to order these Pullman cars. I think they're super cool as far to pull behind, the Commodore or any other real New York Central steam. It would just look good with it. Unfortunately, they're basically just as much as those Niagara cars, and the Niagara cars just look better. Um, so I ended up going with that, and I feel like these Pullman cars, they're just around everywhere. It's not that hard to find. So I'll probably end up finding a set at a train show somewhere from some year, uh, but I did not end up ordering these cars. The passenger cars are just so expensive, and it's a real shame. A lot of people like freight in this hobby, and that's perfect for them. But I really gravitate towards passenger, engines, especially the streamlined passenger sets. These are the heavyweights, but I don't know. They look good. It's just I've seen these at shows before, and I'm not gonna pay $300 a coach for not much extra to go along with it. But let's keep going on. I talked about that. I didn't realize that this was double-sided. I thought that these were two individual just cars. Uh, but this looks, it's just not good. I still don't mind this big art one. But this Awake Now, it's such a corporate round table. Somebody came up with that there. Yeah, you gotta get the old heads out maybe. I don't know. Just doesn't seem like a whole lot of creative thought was put into this. It's a good looking diesel though, just not my thing. These are the ones with the that have the cars in them, I think, or the car alarms and the tail lights and headlight thing. Maybe it'll look cool, but a lot of people are thinking that that's just a little too gimmicky, especially for $350 a piece. It's just not. I just don't. It's not realistic. I don't know who this is marketed to. The S2s. Unfortunately, um, because I went for the Hudson and I went for those coaches, I really did want an S2, and I think they're actually priced pretty well. If anything, in this whole catalog, the S2s are probably the one thing that nobody's complaining about the price on. Uh, they look pretty good, they are priced well, but I had other things that I wanted above it, and just with the price of everything else now, there's just not enough wiggle room to put the S2 on my list. So unfortunately, I needed to nix it. My layout that I'm building, which hopefully my next video should be episode 0 of that. It's going to go over the room and the concept and uh, whatever else I can fit in there creatively and try to explain my vision a little bit better. Um, so subscribe for that. But back to the S2s, it's a 72-inch curve minimum, and that layout that I'm building is a 60-inch curve. So maybe I'll pick up one eventually. I did really want one. I would have gotten this one right here with the smoke lifters. Apparently, I did some research, and it's the only Pennsylvania engine to ever have smoke lifters fitted. So that was a pretty cool fact, I thought. But had to not order it. This Southern set, I still don't know why everybody hates it that much. I don't think it's particularly great looking either, but I just don't think it's the tragedy that everybody's calling it. Maybe somebody can explain to me why everybody hates it so much, but I just think it's a fantasy paint scheme. I'm not sure there's anything that wrong with that. If you want to hate anything, you should hate this Chessie one. That it was so cool when it first came out and everybody really loved this scheme, and then they just started putting it on everything. They're like, okay, we can make a ton of money off of this. All we got to do is just apply this paint scheme and people are just going to eat it up. And I'm sure they will for this S2 as well. But it's so overplayed now to me. It's like the murdered out car trends of the 2010s where everybody was just doing the murdered out look where everything was all black and there was no color to anything. Well, now it's all just orange and silver. They should have somebody, I forget who it was, but somebody said that they should have done it yellow to make like a yellow belly kind of scheme with it. And I thought that would have been super cool. Um, but this is what we get instead. And it's just, yep, seen this in like 3 catalogs in a row now or something like that. I don't know. It's just not for me. This is the one that I don't like. This is the cool one, but I've spent too much time on this stuff. I just think the Tuscan look looks really good on the S2. Unfortunately, couldn't buy one, so maybe in the future. I cannot believe how overpriced these things are still, and everybody seems to agree. The Atlantics, we've seen a lot of Atlantics in catalogs as well recently. I don't, for 125th anniversary, I was looking back at some of the books in the 2023 with the 20th century and the big boy on the cover, that just felt more like a 125th catalog than this does. This just we get Atlantics, S2s. They're kind of cool just because they're into the history of Lionel. Um, but I mean, there's no F3s in here. There's no. It just doesn't feel like, and that's it for Steam. Like that was it. I don't know. It just didn't seem like a big offering, a big celebration, a big what's the words I'm trying to look for? There's just not. It doesn't seem. It seems like where they leaned into their heritage was way more with this kinds of stuff. Like this, with the hand cars and the box cars and like all like I don't know, instead of filling it up with all this stuff that's just collectible shelf stuff more or less, maybe you should have put more engines in there that people could have gotten excited about. There's just not enough variety. Maybe that's it. It's just so hyper focused on like 3 or 4 engines that the bad ones are just going to stick out so much more. But let's continue. Let's continue back to the diesels. I didn't order any diesels, and I really don't have much to say. Um, it's just the same kind of diesels that we see every time. Uh, a lot of people don't like these Train Masters, I guess, is what it seems like from what most of these videos are saying. I think they kind of look cool. They're like little bricks on wheels. I don't know. I didn't order one. Again, I basically ordered the Commodore, those coaches, and a couple other things at the back of the catalog. Um, I don't know why they did the FAs instead of the F3s. It seems more iconic to do the F3 sets. They did the F3s in skip over some of this. Uh in their Lion Chief, here we go. Why, and these are so expensive, as well. But I mean, they're not like super over expensive, but they're definitely getting their money's worth out of it. They're ringing it out for sure. They're Lion Chiefs for goodness sake. My God, we need to get people into the hobby. This is not it. This ain't it, Lionel. Um, and these should have been in the scale stuff. But to round off what I ordered, oh, I did want to touch on this battery stuff too. Everybody's kind of freaking out about the battery stuff, but for the price, I mean, we're talking for kids, 80 to 130 bucks. This is going to sell like hotcakes, this Christmas one. This is like a nicer set. 150 bucks, 150 bucks. This is like you can see it on the shelves and it's tangible. You can buy it. It gives your kid something to play with, and especially the fact that it can fit on regular fast track. These battery sets are a win to me. I don't know why everybody's being so critical about them. But I guess that doesn't matter. This is another really nicely priced set, an actual like 400 bucks. You get a crane, you get a submarine. It's like something to look at. I don't know. I think it's a pretty nice set. Nice caboose, navy. But let's get back to well, before we get to that, we got to talk about this Star Wars stuff. I'm not a Star Wars fan, but even the people that are Star Wars fans, it seems like from what I've heard, there's just so much of it that it just, it takes up, again, it takes up a good chunk of the catalog that I feel like 2 extra pages could have been dedicated to more fan favorite Steam or Diesel. It's just a lot of licensed stuff. Look at all this page of licensed stuff. All the Harry Potter stuff that's come out. I did get some butterbeer scented smoke fluid. I'm not a Harry Potter fan, like I said, but I did end up ordering that for a family member of mine. I'm hoping that it turns out good for him. But more the Lilo and Stitch stuff, everybody's going crazy for the Bob Ross, and how many people really order this stuff when you could have just put better trains in general? Something else that I did order a Thomas and Friends 80th anniversary boxcar. Growing up in the 90s, it's what me and a lot of other people, or it's how me and a lot of other people got into this hobby to begin with, trains in general, uh, was Thomas. And this 80th anniversary, it's a super clean set. It's got good art. It's just done right. So I did end up ordering one of those. And then the last thing I got in this catalog was this Railroad Museum of Pennsylvania 50th anniversary boxcar. I know I talked about how some of this stuff is just shelf stuff, but I'm big into traveling. And one of the things when I travel, obviously, is that I try to hit some museums and check out the pieces that they have. And the uh, the Strasbourg area is just super nice and it's super nostalgic for me, so I did end up ordering one of these. But other than that, I mean, we're talking about almost 4 grand in what I just talked about, and that was 4 pieces. So I didn't get any of the Halloween stuff. It's just all the Christmas stuff too. Are they a toy company? A lot of people would argue no, but when it's just a bunch of Christmas stuff that's just brought out once a year, and why do they have everybody talked about this too, this Heisler set. It's nice. It's probably the one that's most worth the price of these Heisler engines, but then they didn't do regular cars for it. It just doesn't make any sense. I know they're probably going to they didn't put log cars in here. They're probably going to, back to what I was saying, put a lot of this stuff in volume 2, but it's not going to make people order the engines in volume 1 if they don't know for sure that it's going to be in volume 2. Just a really weird catalog, really weird how everything's laid out in here. Um, that's all I really have to say about it. It's just not great this year. Uh, Hopefully volume 2 is better. And when it comes out, I'll be here to walk through it with you guys. Like I said, hopefully the next video we get out is episode 0 is what I'm going to call it, of the layout that I'm going to start building. So subscribe, stick around for it, like this video if you can, and we'll see you on the next one.